Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live edition of Civil 3D TV. I am your instructor for tonight, your humble instructor for tonight. I am by no means an expert at Civil 3D, but I do this as a career. I am a designer full-time. So a lot of these streams are just my way of being able to kind of refresh myself in some of the aspects of Civil 3D that I don't use very often. Usually whenever you have a profession that uses Civil 3D, sometimes you don't get to use certain tools. Well, I like to kind of broaden my horizons a little bit as far as being able to learn different pieces of the program so that I can kind of stay sharp with the program. So we're going to be diving into editing gradings for beginners tonight. And I hope that my pace is slow enough for beginners, so much so that they're able to kind of take in what I'm showing during the live stream. But if you have any other questions, if you have any kind of, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Civil 3D, maybe you're interested in learning something other than gradings, well, I would highly encourage you to go to civil3d.tv, this website right here, where I've got free sessions going on all the time. And you can also sign up for free tutorial updates. A lot of the updated software tutorials that I have, especially like right now for Civil 3D 2023 2024, not a huge difference with the different versions, but the new stuff I'll kick out to you, every single month. But after a while, those videos will become members only videos. So I would encourage you to take a look at those videos while you can. If you're looking to, get some free training under your belt. But if you actually want some course related work, there is a membership option where you can start a free trial, or you can become a member through YouTube. So those are the options. But tonight we're doing a 1 hour live stream. I'm looking to meet a 1 hour live stream, looking to get to that point. And we're going to be diving into editing gradings. I know that with the last stream, towards the end, I was kind of like a little iffy with some of the notes I was looking over, just trying to remind myself, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? Well, I was looking at it the other night, and hopefully this stream will help you a little bit more with editing gradings. So we'll get into editing gradings. Maybe we'll get into grading a complex building footprint. This is more of a building pad right here, this rectangular pad. So yeah, that's where we're at with it, and we will continue. Probably at about the halfway point, I'll take maybe a 5-minute break, and then I'll return, and then we'll keep on cruising. Okay, right now I'm gonna turn some of my browser stuff on real quick. All right, just so I can gain my bearings here. Editing gradings. In this exercise, you'll edit the elevation of a graded baseline, which is this white line right here, this white line. It's basically a feature line. The grading adjusts to reflect the grading change. So we'll go ahead and open up the grading-4 drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder that's already installed with your current installation of Civil 3D. So that's where you can find it. Should be like a help folder within your installation files. So this drawing contains a rectangular building pad, as I said before. And there's this surface, or excuse me, this grading, as you can see in the properties, is a grading that's on a 3-on-1 slope. This is built upon an existing grade surface up to a 3-on-1 slope. And you can see right here within the grading criteria. Okay. The red represents the cut, and the green represents the fill. And we'll get into balancing with volumes as well. We'll get into that dashboard We've got these grading volume tools. I'll show you that a little bit later on tonight. But let me just do some housekeeping real quick. And so we have our building pad. What we're going to do first is we're going to go into, let me see, modify. We'll go into our elevation editor. Then our command line is asking us to select an object. Well, we're going to select that white feature line up at the top. And then we get our grading elevation editor. We have all of our elevations listed here. As I go through, I have the station 0, which is this triangle. Then I'll go through the next and the next. And you can see how it's going in kind of like a clockwise fashion. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go to row 3 and we're going to shift click to row 4. Then we're going to change this elevation. You can see that we have two different elevations, 755 and 765. We're going to change this to 730. Make sure it's highlighted, 730. There we go. Boom. And you can see how that's reflected within our cut. And you can see that the grade ahead and grade back, these percentages, things shifted around, okay? Next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to flatten some areas. If we go around here and I take this quick elevation edit, I like to use this to kind of go around and check my grades. Right now I've got about a negative 4.5% or so. As I come around, there's our 730. Come around here, we have a 0 elevation. And then as I come around on the other side, we've got negative 16%. Okay? There's a huge difference there. So if I want to make this just a consistent slope, I'll select that 4th row, shift click all the way to the beginning. I want to make all of this just a constant grade slope. So I'll use this button, flatten grade or elevations. And I can choose if I want it to be a constant elevation, or I can choose for it to be a constant grade. I'm going to choose for it to be a constant grade, and you'll see what ends up happening. I'll click OK. And you can see how things kind of shifted a little bit with our cut, but you can see how all of this stuff changed to be a consistent grade. What if I wanted to do that on the other side? What would happen if I did this? See how we have just some slight differences in our slope? On the other side, what if I did this? What if I shift clicked all of this and I flatten this? Constant grade. What would this look like? Huh, okay. So it's roughly about the same all the way around. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and undo this. Undo. Okay. So now we're back. Now, if I want to show only the areas where there's grade changes, where there's a grade shift, what I can do is I can click this button, show grade breaks only. That's what I meant. You guys know what I meant. Show grade breaks only. And you can see how now we only have 4 corners here. So there's only 4 grade breaks within this feature line of this grading. For the first row, I'm going to change this. Right now it's at negative 2.69%. I'm going to change that to negative 3. And if I click this button again, you can see how that changed essentially all of this information. All of this stuff changed. So these are just the grade breaks. These are where the elevation is shifting, where the elevation is changing. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the next exercise. Okay, we need to bring up grading the grading 5 drawing, or we can use grading 4. We can do that. We're going to use the grading 4 drawing with the changes that we made. And next, I'm going to close this out. We're going to be balancing cut and fill volumes. Balancing cut and fill volumes within this particular exercise. In this exercise, you'll adjust the elevation of a building pad to balance the cut and fill volumes. And there's a kind of a cool little tool to be able to do that for those that don't know a whole lot about Civil 3D. A lot of the experienced people will know about this, but we'll go into the Analyze tab. Analyze. Then we have our Volumes and Materials panel. Then select Grading Volume Tools. We get our Grading Volume Tools toolbar, and you can see that our grading is selected for our pad, and currently we have this as a cut and this as a fill. And this is the net cut, essentially. I'm going to expand this out just a little bit. Can I do that? No, it won't let me do that. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to raise our pad up by 1 foot. If we want to raise our pad up by 1 foot, we just got a design change from our client that they're telling us, okay, go ahead and add a foot to the elevation. I'm sure a lot of clients won't necessarily want to have more fill added to a building pad, but this is just hypothetical. Hypothetical, guys. Okay, we got a note that said that, okay, we want to go higher, 1 foot higher, so we've got 1 foot in this box. We're going to click and raise the grading group. And you can see how that changed our cut and our fill and our net cut value. Okay? What if we wanted to go, I don't know, 10 feet? Let's go crazy. We're going crazy, guys. Select this button again, and then you can see the cut and fill and the net on that one. But what's really cool about Civil 3D, this is the cool thing that beginners might not know about, is there's actually this button right here to automatically raise and lower to balance the volumes, because ultimately you're looking to save costs on cut and fill, right? So you need to balance these volumes. If you select this, the required volume, we want to keep that as close to 0 as possible. Okay? So it'll chunk it. Now we're done. Look how close it got. We've got our cut, our fill, and look at that net. It's about 8 cubic yards. 8 cubic yards of cut. So Civil 3D is able to do a lot of the cut and fill volume balancing for you. So if you don't know about this this tool, it's very, very handy. I think with residential, use that quite a bit. You use that a lot with really any kind of engineering or construction plans. But as a designer, you get that requested quite a bit, just so that you know if you don't know that already. To do cut, we need you to do a cut and fill on this lot over here. We need you to do a cut and fill on this section of residential lots. So yep, we got that out of the way. That's balancing cut and fill volumes. Next, we're going to be getting into editing the grading criteria. We're just cruising through tonight. We might end early. All right. Let me see what we got going on here. We need to get into grading 3A. We need to get out of this drawing. Grading 3A. Got to pull that up. We'll go to grading 3A. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that was the path to my installation folder for Civil 3D. So that's the place where you can get your exercise files. I'm going to do a save as of this. I think this is already on my desktop, but okay. If you remember this, we're creating our gradings with this for our ditch. If you remember the ditch exercise. Okay, editing the grading criteria. In this exercise, you will edit a grading criteria and an associated grading adjust to reflect the criteria change. You'll edit grading criteria attributes values in two ways. Number one, in the elevation editor dialog box, which that's what we've been dealing with right here. I hate when it does this. I gotta send this to back. Try it again. No? It's a tin surface. Okay. Display order, send it back. There it is. Okay. Elevation editor. Now we got our feature line. I don't know if you saw that. That might be a little bit confusing to people. Let me go back. I'm going to undo this. Okay. We're in grading 3A. Okay? If I zoom in and I want to select the feature line that this grading object is building itself off of. Okay? And this white line is that feature line. Well, is it? If I select it, what do I get? I get a grading. Don't want a grading. I want the feature line. I'll right click, display order, send it back. Okay? Now let's select the white line again. No, I'm getting the tin surface on this one. Don't want that. Right click, go into display order, send it back once again. Now, will I get the feature line? Select the white line. Ah, we got our feature line. Yay! Woo! We did it. You see how that can be kind of confusing to folks? If you need to change the elevation of your feature line and you've got all of your gradings and all that stuff is, all that line work is essentially stacked on top of that feature line, then when you go to select it later on to try and edit that, then it becomes kind of like, oh crap, like where's my feature line? Am I doing this right? You're doing it right. You just have to select all the junk on top of that feature line and just send all that stuff to back. So that's what I did right there. Okay, we went over the elevation editor. Grading criteria attribute values in two ways. We're going to be editing that in two ways with the elevation editor And secondly, directly in the grading criteria settings. Use this method to apply attribute changes to future grading created with criteria. If the attribute value is locked, attribute changes will also be applied to the grading what's currently. Attribute changes will also be applied to grading that currently uses the criteria. Makes sense, right? Doesn't that make a whole lot of sense? All right, we're gonna go through it. Okay, edit the grading criteria. We're in grading 3A. We'll go to the Modify tab. Modify, we're already there. Design panel, right here. Then grading. Select that. Then we can also choose our grading editor in this panel, as you can see here. We're going to click inside the objects for the grading that projects from feature line AB, which is essentially right here. See how it highlights? We're going to highlight this green area. Then we get our criteria. This is the grading editor panorama. We're going to change the distance value from 10 to 5. You see how that changed it? Changed the width right there. Now you'll make a similar change that will affect all the grading groups by using the distance at -6% grading criteria. Okay. Okay, I'm going to click this checkbox. Click this once again. I'm going to regen all. Okay. If I go into in the tool space, in the settings tab, go into grading, grading criteria sets, and go into ditch criteria set. And we'll select that distance at -6%. Edit. I see what we're doing here. What we just did with the original grading criteria set with this particular piece is we set that for that individual piece of ditch, not for the entire criteria set. So if we wanted to, we can come in here and in the grading criteria dialog box, click the criteria tab, which is what we're on, change the distance parameter to 20 feet. 20. And then we'll click this to lock it, which will apply it to all grading that currently uses the distance of at -6% grading criteria. Leave the value unlocked, applies the value only to the grading criteria in the future. Okay, so watch what happens when I click OK. Hopefully this is what's going to happen. Okay. See how that changed? But that's only when I went into the grading criteria sets within the settings tab within my tool space. Not when I went in there originally in the beginning and set it individually. And plus it's locked now. It's locked. So if I come in here, Let me go into modify, grading editor, select this. See how now I can't edit this distance anymore? Used to be at 5 feet, but since it's locked, it's now at 20 feet. If I don't want that to happen anymore, I can right click, go into edit, distance, we'll leave this unlocked, click OK. Grading criteria editor, select this area, and now we can edit that to whatever we want it to be. So that's that. Okay, we're roughly coming up at about the midway point of this live stream. We might end up, we might finish early tonight, but we're kind of cruising through a lot of these exercises, but hopefully they help you. Hopefully this is at a nice pace to where you're able to understand and retain the things that I'm showing you right now. So I'm going to take a quick 5 and I will return momentarily. All right, and we are back. Halftime is over. So we've edited our grading criteria. Next, we're going to move on to grading from a complex footprint. Let's dive into that. You need to open up the grading-6 drawing. Grading-6 drawing. See where that path is at? That's where the exercise files are at. I'm going to save this to my desktop. File, save as, desktop, grading 6. And you guys, excuse me, you guys probably can't see what's going on right here. I'm going to change the look of this. I think it should be in the view. The view. Hey, what's up there, Sammy? Sammy's on fire. Thumbs up and on fire. He's on fire. How you doing, Sam? Thanks for stopping in tonight. We got to change some view settings so people can actually see what's going on with this side. Is it display? Colors? Yeah, here we go. Pushing forward. Sam, you ought to make t-shirts, man. You have so many different sayings, dude. Make t-shirts, you know, make people wear your shirts. I'm going to switch this to black so people can see it. Apply, okay. All right. Sammy is king of the catchphrases. Full of catchphrases. Okay. All right, so this drawing, you'll use this in this tutorial. It displays the building pad in 2 vertically arranged viewports. In the right viewport, we have the top-down view. Okay, this is still a feature line. Sam says, yeah, maybe in the future. For sure. It's another revenue stream, man. Where am I at here? Grading 6. Okay. We've got 2 vertically arranged viewports. In the right viewport, the building pad is shown in plan view. You'll design the building pad in the right viewport. In the left viewport, which is kind of like this isometric view, it's displayed in model view. You'll use this viewport to see the status of the design as you work. So we'll create a stepped offset feature line in this portion. We're going to type in offset gap, gap type. We're going to type in 1 as the value. Now this has to, I believe this has to do with as you're offsetting feature lines, like let's just say we have, you know, kind of like a square view of our, you know, we've got like a square feature line, square shape. When we offset it, it could create some gaps when we offset it. So I think that that's what that offset gaps type setting is all about. But we'll get into it a little bit more in the future. I'm just, again, I'm refreshing myself with a lot of these exercises myself so that I can be able to teach this stuff in the future. So these live streams, again, they're for the beginners, okay? The experienced folk out there, I know that they're screaming, they want more, but these tutorials, these exercises are just for beginners, okay? All right, so okay, the offset gap variable. Okay, yeah, it goes in the potential gaps. I'm going to click the Home tab, then over to the Create Design panel. I'm going to click the feature line drop down. Then I'm going to go to the stepped offset. We're going to do a stepped offset. Sam says, bro, you're highly intelligent with great range of knowledge. How did you first start with CAD? Through high school, man. Through high school. They gave me an opportunity, just started doing plot plans, learning CAD that way. I just learned the basics of CAD. I wasn't getting into the nitty-gritty with Civil 3D. In the command line, we're going to put in an offset distance of 1.5. Okay. Then we're going to select our feature line. Then we're going to click the outside. Then our command line says to specify an elevation difference, or it gives us a lot of other options here. We're going to type in G to specify a grade value, and we're going to type in -1 for the grade. There we go. And you see what's happening here with the offset gaps. It looks like it's kind of rounding it a little bit. And that's what that offset gap type is all about, I believe. Not 100% sure, 100% certain. Okay, so we'll press enter to end the command. You can see kind of like what's happening here in our isometric view. Okay. Okay. It says right here in my notes, the stepped offset feature line is displayed. Notice that the left viewport on the left side of the ramp, the curve on the stepped offset feature line is not well formed. See all this stuff? It's not very well formed because it's an independent feature line. You can use the feature line editing tools to refine the solution. Okay, we're going to be adding fillets to the feature line. We're going to go up to the Modify tab and Edit Geometry panel. Edit Geometry panel right here. We're going to go to Fillet right here, this button. Okay, we're going to click. Where are we going to click? Where are we going to click? I can remember doing this, just to let you guys know, I remember doing this years ago. I was going through these exercise files probably during 2020, during COVID, and I can remember certain things that got me stuck on different aspects of the program, and this was one of them. I believe if I select, when I move my cursor over the feature line, was it here? And then over here? No. What about here? There it is. That's what I wanted. So it filleted all that stuff. I'm going to do it again. Undo. Thank you very much, Sam, for the compliment, by the way. I appreciate that compliment. Sam is a very encouraging individual. He's got a whole channel to where he looks to inspire those that are just, if you feel stuck in life, Sam is one that'll get you, to get up and going. No, he's all about no naps. He's all about not just sleeping away all of your potential, but actually moving. His catchphrase is to move forward. He's got to put that on a shirt. Somebody buy a shirt from him. Okay. Let's fillet this again. We'll select this line right here. And then we'll fillet that way. Sam says, did you go to high school in Michigan or Florida? I went to high school in Michigan. It was a lot of projects I worked on were residential type projects, but we weren't dealing with Civil 3D. We were starting to deal with if a lot of you folks don't know about it, it's called Land Desktop. I was using something called ServCAD, and which is by Carlson, I believe. And then we moved on to Land Desktop, which is an earlier version of Civil 3D, then to Civil 3D. And Civil 3D is it's one of those programs to where it's just like it's so robust. There's so many different tools and things like that, things that you can manipulate, that you constantly have to kind of refresh yourself in a lot of the other areas, because you can kind of dig a little bit of a rut for yourself when you're working a designer job. You start to begin to get into a rut to where you're using the same commands over and over again. If you're working on the same projects over and over again, then you start to forget certain aspects of the program, and then you start to look like a beginner all over again. So that's what these exercise files are for, like during these live streams. I mean, as you can tell, we're going slow with this stuff because, like you, just like a beginner, I'm refreshing myself with a lot of the stuff that you miss over time. So okay, so the fillet is applied to the feature line. Actually, we're going to do that on the other side too. I don't know if you hear the baby crying in the background. Fillet, do that again. Click this. There we go. We're making this a nice transition. We don't want like a huge hole in our grading right here with our transition right there. So we'll go ahead and press enter to accept that. And that's essentially it. And that's about it for tonight, folks. Sam says, was high school for you a positive or negative experience? Were you a high achiever in class? I was not. I was a straight up C student all around. C student. I tried to get involved with athletics, with basketball and things like that. But as I look back on it now, it was like I should have gotten involved with cross country early, especially because I can remember there was a friend of mine. I wasn't super close with him, but this guy was just very, very smart. I was always an average C student. I didn't put forth a ton of effort into what I did, to be honest with you. I just did the bare minimum in school, and then just went home and just screwed around on the computer and shot some hoop, and that was my life, in high school. But then I got involved with an architectural drafting class, and that's how I got into civil engineering through a high school co-op. But as I look back on it now, it's like, man, I should have gotten involved with some cross country, because one guy in particular, this guy's like a scientist. But I didn't even know that he was that smart. Like he was a smart guy, but like he ran cross country, and he was really good at it. He was very, very humble guy. But then later on, I found out that he's like a nuclear physicist, and it's like, man, I should have hung out more with that kid rather than the pot smokers, Sam says, baby crying. Whose baby? It's not my baby. I think it's there's somebody that just recently moved in that has a child. But I'm used to it. When you're living in an apartment, you get used to a lot of different noises. Where do you prefer to walk? Is it that stupid heart icon? Where do you prefer to walk? Is there a local park in your community or on a treadmill? A lot of times there's actually a trail that I go to that's not too far from where I live. Sometimes I'll walk throughout my community, like during the workday. I'd say about every 2 to 3 hours, if I'm working from home, I typically get up and just go walk around, and just to kind of stretch my legs, and just to kind of, like right now, as I'm sitting down in this chair, my back feels a little bit tight just from just sitting down for such a long period of time. I think even designers too can probably feel this pain, to where you're sitting down all day long, and it's like you need to get up and get the blood moving. Because I found out I had a pulmonary embolism like years back, which is essentially like a blood clot that enters into your lung. And I think that it might have had to do with the fact that I sit down all day. I live a lifestyle to where, I'm sitting around all day long, just working on computers and stuff. And it becomes one of those things where it's just, if you don't get that blood moving, especially I'm a tall guy, a very tall guy. And, blood clots. You got to be aware of blood clots when you have that kind of sedentary lifestyle. Sam says, you going to church tomorrow? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. You need to walk every 40 minutes. I agree. Need to walk every 40 minutes. Wow, I didn't know you had that. Yes. Blow flow is key. How tall are you? I'm 6'2". 6'2". So yeah, that's the dealio. That's the dealio, folks. Let's see what else we got going on in here with the, Sam says blood flow. Hey, what's up, Norm Lee? Says, I take daily baby aspirins, thins the blood, less chance of blood clots. I've heard of something like that. I actually take, what do I take? I take something for, I did take blood thinners when I got out of the hospital. But I asked them, I said that, what could cause this? And they were saying that, well, could be, if you sit down for long periods of time, if you go for long flights, it can happen that way. Or sometimes it's just a freak thing that happens. Freak thing that happens. I know that most people are kind of like, they want to try to prevent everything they can from, happening to them, but something, it's just a freak thing that happens. That's why I make sure that I have a good relationship with the man upstairs. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I even had that, when that happened, it was actually on my birthday. Happened on my birthday. Yep. And, the doctors were coming in, and they were just looking at me like, how are you alive? Because I guess they were able to see what the situation was with the x-rays with my lungs and stuff, and it's just sort of like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to stay here for a little while longer. Maybe my purpose is to teach you Civil 3D. If you peruse all my content, if you peruse my channel and check out my website, civil3d.tv, I'm fulfilling my purpose. Fulfilling my purpose in life. Sam, $2 super chat. Thank you. He says, we appreciate you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being so gracious to me. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for sticking around when maybe people might be a little too shy to chat with me here. Norm Lee, he says, us CAD operators do have a sedentary work style. Yeah, I mean, I know that, like what I do with my job, typically what I'll do is I'll get up every 2 hours, and typically, like with a lot of states, they kind of have these laws into place to where in between, maybe 8 o'clock and lunch, you're supposed to get like about a 15-minute break. Well, and then a 15-minute break in between, like after lunch and before you leave every day. So 2 15-minute breaks. And I just use that time just to get up and just go, get some water or go for a walk around. I've got a parking structure that I do laps around, and I just get my steps in, and even afterwards, I'll go for runs after work and stuff. It's not necessarily just because I'm in like constant fear of like blood clots and things like that in the future. That doesn't really bother me that much. It's just to kind of, I need my body to stretch. I need my body to move around, and I need to be doing things. I need to, like, activity is what's key. I think activity is what kind of gives you some longevity, but I don't try to overdo it. Sam says, teach CAD before we go to the upper room. The upper room. I'm going to start calling you Claude from now on, Sam. Instead of Sam, I'm just going to start calling you Claude. What's up there, Claude? Sam and I have very similar lifestyles. We both do the YouTube thing. You know, we're both single dudes. We're both single dudes on the prowl, right? Yes, sir. Actually, this is kind of cool, kind of ending a little bit early, but we're still roughly at around the 1 hour mark. I think that if folks have questions about CAD or anything like that, if they can save them to the end, man, that'd be great. Yeah, that, you know. I got some comments from folks within the channel that say that, yeah, you know, when you stop in between during the tutorial, it kind of messes us up with, it kind of messes up the flow when you're chatting with people and, you know, while you're working on your tutorial. So I'm trying to kind of cater to that a little bit. So I think that by talking to folks towards the end of the stream, I think that is a good way to be able to structure the live stream maybe in the future. Yeah, you got to get everything you got to get everything in life that you can before you go to the upper room, right, Sam? The upper room. The upper room. Normally says hard to get more subscribers and viewers. Civil 3D is a bit of an esoteric subject, yeah. Which is, I think that might be the reason why, you know, the channel is doing better and better, you know, because it is esoteric. It is kind of like out there, like a lot of civil designers use the program, but as far as like civil engineers, they're constantly trying to understand it. I remember having I was a CAD manager for a company where certain engineers just could not, they just couldn't get it. I had to repeat myself over and over again, just kind of like just basic stuff, like creating a surface and, you know, adding data to a surface. And I was constantly having to show them how to do things over and over again, which is why I got into doing video and tutorials and things like that on YouTube. But it's funny how people want that one-on-one training. They even if they have access to video, sometimes they just want the one-on-one training to where, you know, you can kind of cater to just them. And sometimes it's hard for CAD managers to be able to divide their time between doing actual project work and helping everybody out. Sam says, remember, the crowd has points, but you are the one on court. Play your game. Gotcha. That sounds like another catchphrase, Sam. Play your game. Play your game. Man, I need to start coming up with shirts here for Civil 3D. Then it won't be an esoteric subject anymore, right? Because everybody's going to be wearing my shirts. USA, USA. Remember, 80% of society are at an 8th grade level. They prefer gaming, couples, prank channels, and hot chicks. Probably only 10% of society uses CAD. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, CAD is for the chosen few. The chosen few. Yeah. I'll tell you what, CAD has been able to take me on vacations. It's provided me a lot of different opportunities. That's actually another video that I think that I might end up editing and posting on my other channel, Sam, is talking about being grateful for certain aspects of things that have gone good in your life. And CAD, I remember when I first got the job in CAD, I thought, no, I want to design logos for a living. I want to do logos. I don't want to do this CAD stuff for the rest of my life. Anytime somebody mentions something about you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life, yeah, nobody wants to get involved with that. But in my mind, I was trying to find a way of escape from CAD. And then I got my chance to be a graphic designer. I wanted to do graphic design and do Photoshop and Illustrator and all that stuff. And I got my chance, and I found out not a whole lot different from CAD. Still dealing with the same problems. You're still dealing with the same questions and issues and layout changes. It's the same. You know, day in, day out, you're coming in and you're having to cater to the client. Sam says, hey, look at it this way. You'll always have job security. Great skill that few can do. But sometimes, Sam, it does make me wonder how AI will play into Civil 3D in the future. Are we going to be designing with headsets and, kind of like that Apple headset that just came out? Is that the way that we're going to be doing CAD in the future? If that's the case, then it's like, oh man, that'll be another adjustment. Normally says Windows has a program called Steps Recorder. Use it when explaining stuff to engineers. It records and saves every mouse click and screenshot. It saves it. There you go. Yeah, I mean, you're as a person that knows the program and is trying to help others out, you'd like to be able to point people towards, okay, we've already went over that. Here's a video on that. That's very smart, Norm. Yeah, I wanted to be a commercial artist and do ads and I'm assuming that says logos. Yeah, like designers, we want to be able to be creative. And sometimes we think that engineering is not very creative, but it can be. Especially, I found a lot of creativity within doing concept plans, just doing concept site plans. Sam says eventually AI may take over, but you'll probably still get a 10 to 15 year run. Yeah, I hope so. I hope that by the end of this, that my Civil 3D channel doesn't become obsolete. That would stink. Sam says UBI, Universal Basic Income, AI takes over, you'll be fine time philosopher online. Yeah, or maybe I'll be making costumes. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Be right back. I make I do 3D printed props. I do stuff like this, RoboCop helmet. I'm in the process of making a RoboCop helmet. So who knows? Maybe I might be able to leave the CAD world and get into some of this stuff, the 3D printing world. Seems to be going nicely. Sam says you have a wide enough range to adapt. Remember the book, Who Moved My Cheese? My cheese. Always adapt. That's what life's all about. Life is all about being able to adapt. I think that the people that have the biggest problem are the people that have a hard time changing. If you're not able to change, it's just sort of like, man, it's going to be a rough ride for you. Either that or you're going to be fighting people tooth and nail. I don't want to change. I don't want to learn anything new. Of course, people don't say that, but normally RoboCop. Yeah, normally you have 20 seconds to comply. Was that the Ed 209? Thank you for your cooperation. Sam says when robots take over, RoboCop will be certified as a classic. Yeah. Well, another thing that I've been getting involved with is learning how to model characters in 3D. Like I've been using a program called Blender. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Norm, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's called Blender. Or not. Yeah, there's Blender and then there's ZBrush. That's what I'm learning. ZBrush. Now you talk about being a total beginner again. I'm learning how to use ZBrush right now to develop characters. And man, this is just trying to learn how to do this stuff. It can be very, very complex. There's so much stuff going on here. Normally laugh out loud, yeah. Sam says, Johnny 5, Short Circuit was my favorite robot movie. Yeah. Johnny 5. Didn't they make 2 of those movies? Number 5 is alive. Yes, Norm, we need more input. Norm, this ZBrush, this is like a whole new level of 3D here. You know, trying to design characters and stuff. Like people are able to do all kinds of let me type in here 3D print STL. Yeah, you see all this stuff that people do? I hate that Google does this. They shift all the results down. All right, where's it at? Yeah, RoboCop. Yeah, here we go, right here. If you wanted to 3D print this stuff, you can take it from right here. And all this stuff, a lot of this stuff is 3D modeled in this ZBrush. And that's what I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to be able to get to that level to where I'm creating stuff like this. And it's tough. It's tough. I'm a beginner all over again. Norm says, oh, so those are all 3D and modeled. Yes, sir. Yep. Yeah, this is some advanced stuff. You thought engineering was tough. Man. Yeah, and you can print all this stuff off on a printer that costs about $200. You can make your own statues at any size that you want. Sam says, draw Johnny 5 as your next painting. Would love to see a 3D print out of Johnny 5. Yeah, I could give that a shot. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm all about 80s. I love 80s. 80s movies, 80s music. I'm a dork when it comes to that kind of stuff. Man, I haven't seen that movie Short Circuit in a long time. Norm says, I want to print out a 3D of Ali Sheedy. Yeah. Who knows? You might want to talk to Sam about that, because Sam is all about the robot girlfriends, right, Sam? Sam's all about the robot girlfriends. Yeah, he'll kind of bring you up to speed on what's happening with the virtual girlfriend. Sam says robots will save humanity. Sam, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but you ever seen Terminator? Yeah. You ever heard of Skynet? Norm says, like the Scarlett Johansson virtual girlfriend movie. Yeah, it's called Her. Yeah, Sam, did you end up seeing that movie? Her? Yes, Sam says the good guys win. Yeah, you got to kill the robots. Got to kill the robots in the end. Yeah, this is that movie. Her. Yeah, with Joaquin. I think this is the future. You just call your virtual girlfriend on the phone. I think they already have that stuff. Sam says, you ever see Putin or George Bush or Trump? Yeah. They all got their finger on the bright red button, right? Oh, we're still around. An iRobot with Will Smith. Yep. We never really see a whole lot of positive movies about robots. Not a whole lot of positive stuff. It's just all about the bad stuff. Yeah, for those that are just tuning in, it looks like we've got a couple more within the chat. We're probably about wrapped up here with the tutorials. We're just shooting the breeze right here in the chat. If you have any questions about Civil 3D, I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, yeah, just shooting the breeze right now. Well, folks, I'm probably gonna wrap this up. We're roughly at a little over an hour. Norm says, okay, good to see. Okay, cool. Good to see you live. I'm sorry. I was thinking, good to see you live. What? Good to see you live. Yes, sir. Thanks for stopping in. It's good to meet you, Norm. Sam says, fear is more of a primitive emotion and it sells not so much with positivity. Yep. And that's why you have to break from the pack, right? Right there, Sam? Break from the pack. Well, folks, until next time, take care. I hope that these tutorials helped you in some way. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and leave some comments. But until next time, we're probably going to be going over maybe some corridor assemblies. We might dive into that. Or we might dive into the building footprint a little bit more with the gradings. So, all right. Take care, folks. Johnny 5 is out. Peace.